Hello, my name is Caliber, and as of Tuesday, XDefiant is out. If you don't know what that is, it's a game made by Ubisoft that's pretty much their attempt to compete with Call of Duty, with similar gameplay, no skill-based matchmaking, map voting, and it's even being made by ex-COD developers. And to a lot of people, it's here to deliver on pretty much everything that modern COD isn't delivering on. This is a game that I've been looking forward to for a while, and now we can finally try it outside of beta testing. Actually trying to play the game is kind of a pain in the ass. I'm sure that there's a business, marketing, fucking religious, racial reason for this, but every game company thinks that it deserves its own launcher to hold the company's entire roster of games that's like 5 entries long. And Ubisoft is just one of those companies. All this shit is just bloatware, and it's downright inhumane to use at times. Like, at least sometimes it makes sense to have a launcher that isn't Steam on your computer. Like, Epic has the weekly free games, Xbox's Game Pass. But what the fuck does Ubisoft Connect offer? Dog shit games, ads for those dog shit games. I mean, like, at least XDefiant is free and not $100 fucking with more content behind paywalls. After a loading screen that should just be skippable, once you get into the game, you're greeted by UI that's similar to older Call of Duty. It looks nice, it's good, feels good to use, but it's probably going to be changed whenever the first major update comes out, or Season 2. Speaking of seasons, this game has a battle pass. Not even a week after release, and there's a fully functioning store and a battle pass. I understand that the game is free to play, and this has to be there to some degree, but at least even Call of Duty, with how terrible the monetization is in that game, gave us a pre-season to get prepared for it. I guess one good takeaway is that it seems that after Rainbow Six Siege, Ubisoft has finally figured out what a battle pass looks like. You know, 100 tiers, actually goes from left to right, doesn't look like a fucking board game, and they have decided to refrain from trying to fit the battle pass into 4 fucking dimensions. On from that, you have your profile tab, you have your factions tab, which I will talk about later, that's a big thing, and your loadouts tab. The loadouts are pretty simple in this game. You get 2 guns, 5 attachments for your primary, 4 attachments for your secondary, 1 side equipment plus skins. There's no pick 10, no gunsmith, or anything else crazy. I'm kind of happy they didn't try to reinvent the wheel with this, but it might have been cool to like see perks or just something thrown in there to make it a bit more in-depth. Guns and gadgets are also unlocked through doing challenges rather than leveling, which is cool. It forces you to actually use different guns. It just sucks that you can't see the challenges for the individual guns and gadgets from the loadout menu. You have to go all the way back to the front page and open a separate challenges tab. There's also mastery skins you can get, those being bronze, silver, and gold. Getting these just involve grinding weapon levels rather than getting headshot kills or kills while crouched or something fucking stupid. And it does take quite a while to level up guns. If we're comparing this to COD, you might get into a game with a gun, come out with the same gun, and now it's like level 3 or something like that. Unless you're using XP boosters in this, you're going to probably have to play quite a bit to even get it to level 2, which makes sense. This is not COD. This is going to last for a lot longer than just a year. So it makes total sense that the grind would just be bigger because you are given more time to grind for stuff. Clicking on the play button, we get to choose between 5 game modes, those being Escort, Zone Control, Domination, Occupy, and Hotshot. Escort is where the attacking team escorts a Boston Dynamics-esque dog robot from one side of the map to the other. Zone Control is where one team takes control over points that the other team has until eventually they have control over the entire map. Domination is, well, domination. Occupy is just like pretty much hardpoint, and Hotshot is pretty much like kill confirmed, except the player that has the most kills confirmed is granted speed boosts and is marked for everyone. There's also welcome playlist, which is just all the game modes combined. This is also the only playlist that has skill-based matchmaking, and it's only available to anyone underneath level 25. It's just meant for newer players. You can also make your own playlist, which is really cool. We saw COD do this a bit before with the quick play playlists, but it's something that I haven't seen any other games do. So this is really cool that we're seeing this again, but you can't save your playlists, which is something that I would want to see in a future update. Actually getting to a match, overall, this game plays and feels really good. It's nothing over the top. The movement is simple, with the only advanced movement option being your crouch slide. slide. There isn't even a prone option, which just feels a bit weird. The movement is slower, but it still feels really loose, allowing for movement text like b-hopping or side strafing to take place. Gunplay is good. Again, like the movement, it is still really simple. It's hit scan, minimal recoil, ADS is fast, and has a pretty average time to kill. Gadget wise, you get a selection of 5 gadgets, those being the proximity mine, frag grenade, sticky grenade, flashbangs, and an EMP grenade, which is just used to shut down enemy abilities. Speaking of abilities, this game has a character slash faction slash class system. This is the faction mechanic that I mentioned earlier in the video, but I just haven't talked about it yet. Pretty much there are 5 factions, all based on other Ubisoft properties. There's the Cleaner faction, which is based on The Division. There's Phantoms, based on Ghost Recon. Libertad, based on Far Cry 6. Echelon, based on Splinter Cell. And DedSec, based on Watch Dogs. Each faction has their own abilities, and in those factions there's 3 characters each that all share the same abilities. Which, just looking at some of these abilities, it leads me to believe that a lot of these may be getting reworked, nerfed, or buffed in the near future. The Cleaners, for example, have incendiary rounds as their passive. No, this isn't an attachment, this isn't an ability, they just always shoot fucking incendiary bullets, which means that they just do more damage. If you are shot by a cleaner with a sniper rifle, you will probably die a second later, even if they got a hit marker, because you will just burn to death. And this goes for shotguns, everything. The Echelon class's passive ability is that they just don't show up on the fucking minimap, like at all, even when they're shooting. Which doesn't seem like too much of a good idea when the minimap and how players appear on the minimap is a core mechanic that a lot of the game revolves around. DedSec can recharge grenades faster and shit like that. Libertad has some stupid fucking AoE thing, and then Phantoms just straight up have 20% more fucking health. Stuff like this can work if they're going for a if everything is overpowered then nothing is overpowered style of game balancing, but a game design philosophy like that doesn't really work too well in a competitive environment with a deep and properly thought out sandbox. There's nothing wrong with it, it's just that if they do decide to pay a lot of attention to the competitive scene of this game, a lot of stuff would have to change with these abilities. The non-passive abilities seem to be a bit better though. There's stuff replaceable shields for Phantoms, an enemy scan that goes through walls for Echelon, there's a Molotov for the Cleaners. Overall, they seem fine, but they are given out to players over time rather than being rewards for getting kills or objective score. Which it works, I guess, but it just doesn't feel as good or make as much sense as a system that does reward players for doing those things. There's also ultimate abilities, and these are unlocked through getting kills rather than over time, but they don't seem to be given out as a reward for getting score. It would make a lot of sense for them to do that, as every game mode in XDefiant is a objective game mode that, to some degree at least, rewards teamwork and objective play. But with that being said, the ultimate abilities don't feel overpowered. I actually think that the ultimate abilities in this game are pretty cool. Just as one example, Phantoms have a bubble shield that forms around them, and then they're given a shotgun. The shotgun can't reach outside of the bubble shield, but if anything is inside the bubble shield, then it's a guaranteed one-shot kill. Abilities like this, I think, can be really cool in a reactive and dynamic sandbox if Ubisoft wants to take this game in that direction. Onto the maps, there isn't much to say. A lot of the maps focus around CQB combat. There isn't too many super long sight lines. Almost all of the maps feel pretty good to play on. There aren't any that I would say are bad at all, but at the same time, there aren't really any that I think are amazing. With all that said, this is a good game. The class system and the abilities feel like a bit of an afterthought. I think that they could have taken the abilities and the classes out of the game and just turned all of that into secondary equipment, and nothing really would have changed that much. The abilities, some of them are good, cool, but other ones like the incendiary rounds, the 20% extra health, I don't think those really work too well in a sandbox like this. Usually in games like this, abilities or equipment are designed to create obstacles to give one player an advantage or give another player a disadvantage that those players would have to work around. With the examples I gave before, where it just improved a player's stats, there's nothing that the other player can do about that. They can't play around the other player having more health or just doing more damage. So that's just why I don't think that abilities like that are a good thing to have. But overall, it's a fun game. I've been having fun with it. Everyone else I've played with has been having fun with it. I think it has a lot of potential, regardless of what direction they take the game in, whether that's competitive or casual. I just think that the game could definitely use polishing over time. Other than that, I think I've milked this topic enough. I think my thoughts have been exhausted. I am aware that I have personally not uploaded a video in around a year. I've just been busy with other stuff and have made the decision to focus a lot of my time and energy into stuff outside of YouTube. Although if this video or any other videos I make in the future do decently well, then I would love to keep making content. But with that being said, subscribing's free, liking's free, fucking Twitch channel I never use is in the description, and bye.